the construction sector hasn't had a great track history in the past for thinking intelligently and systems thinking, these kind of things, has it?
No, it hasn't. And so I completely agree. That is one of the key challenges. I mean, with Sero, we started out very early on. We actually built a whole home survey tool to try and capture all the data we needed to make that informed, intelligent decision for the journey, for the pathway, as we call it, of the home. And we still produce pathways that map out in a series of steps how that home can get to net zero carbon, healthy, affordable, comfortable, all of the things that we're trying to achieve. And of course, that can be one step. If someone wants to do a deep retrofit, go in, do it all in one go. But more often than not, the UK is taking this approach of in slices. And that does make economic sense. If you're replacing end of life, then you do get to the point of, okay, well, let's swap it out at this point because we've used the 15 years on that boiler and we're now reviewing and checking. But it does absolutely, as you say, require thinking ahead so that, most boiler replacements, certainly outside of social housing, are distress purchases. And so you need the supply chain and the skills so that when someone, if it's a homeowner, when their boiler breaks, firstly, they need to have been aware that they were heat pump ready. And ultimately, every home can be run by heat pump. The question is whether it can be run affordably. They need to be aware of heat pumps. They need to be aware of the direction of travel from government, that electrification is the way that we'll be decarbonising our building and indeed most of our transport. And they need to be able to phone up their preferred heating engineer and say, my boiler's broken, can you come and fit me? And the heating engineer needs to have the supply chain and the skills to go, yeah, I can get that in by the time that you need hot water next. And of course, at the moment, they can't. You phone up and they say, my boiler's broken. They go, right, I can get a boiler in by the end of the day, or I can give you, 6 weeks or 2 months before I've got the survey and ready for the heat pump. So I think there's a little bit of a way to go. But I do think the joined up approach is ultimately key, having that single source of the truth. Back in my days at BRE, did a number of projects around building passports or renovation passports or logbooks, or I'm going to get precious about the name, but that's in many ways what I see the pathway as being. It's effectively a map of how this gets tackled so that when you get to the next milestone, the stepping stone on that journey, you say, okay, well, I'm at this point, I'm replacing my windows. The things I need to check are the U value is 1, say 1.2, if you're being slightly economically prudent, if and you know that you need a certain ventilation area for those trickle vents because your strategy is a decentralized mechanical extract, and that's the questions you're asking when you go back to the installer to get the kit, if it's your own home, or as a social landlord when you're procuring your contractor. But I think having that technical skill, we can't assume the whole sector, especially beyond sort of large scale landlords, is going to have that. We need to be able to embed that into a manual that allows you to go, right, when you do this, you get that. A combustion engine car tells you a particular type of oil that you're supposed to top up your engine with because that's the oil the manufacturer says you should use. We need to be kind of getting to the position whereby we're saying, right, well, when you change your windows, this is the specifications that you need to look for. Or when you're looking at your fans, these are the key points that as a consumer or as a landlord, you should be checking that you've got an extraction rate of 15 litres, or because the maths have been done by someone who's technical at the time when you're not under pressure to turn it round and the data is available for you.